The clothes I was trying to make were all my sketches and designs. I was like, let me take this. Let me not get an investor. So all of it was me, my own money. Unfortunately, I lost millions, to be honest. It was an expensive lesson, but I could tell you, it was the best times. The best lessons in my life about myself and creating things. Where others would weep.
Hey, not to bring up Kanye again, but that just reminded me when he was talking to Sway. He was like, Sway, bro, you ain't got the answers, bro. Sway was like, man, why don't you do this, man? Why can't you just do it like that? And why can't you do it like this? And Kanye was trying to tell him like, hey, bro, you telling me what you think, and you theorizing what I should and could maybe do. And he's saying, I've been doing it and I've been spending the money and it ain't been working. So I need this. That can infuriate somebody, bro. When somebody is trying to give you advice on something that they've never done. And it's like, you were giving me advice on something that you don't do. And I have been doing it and putting time in and putting money in and doing research, doing education. I've been doing all this work. And then you're going to sit here in my face and tell me what you think I should do and what might could happen. I've been doing it. What it do, man? It's your boy 100 and we back in this. Hey, we back in this, man. And right now we got Andre 3000 and why he sabotaged his career on purpose. I did a video about Earl Sweatshirt about how he sabotaged his career on purpose. But if you actually watch the videos, like the title is like real clickbaity. Basically, they're just breaking down like the stages of their careers and like what happened. Like it's not like they literally sabotage their careers. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a clickbait title for you to watch it and be informed on their trajectory, how they navigated their career. You know what I'm saying? Basically. But anyway, man, let's go ahead and tap in.
And I haven't been making much music, man. My focus is not there. My confidence is not there. I tinker a lot. Like I'll just go to a piano and I'll set my iPhone down and just record what I'm doing. Move my fingers around and whatever happens. But I hadn't been motivated to do a serious project. I'd like to, but it's just not coming.
Throughout history, the notion that what goes up must come down has always been true. From sports icons to politicians, actors, and authors, the idea that one day you'll be unable to captivate the world as you once did finds new case studies on a daily basis. And rather than being an exception, hip-hop is a culture in which the rate at which that sheen disappears is on an accelerated timeline. While greatness is most achievable in the short term, it's difficult to sustain. Across generations and various waves of the genre, a fine line has existed between becoming a legend and ending up as a shadow of your former self. Taken from performing to seas of people in arenas to the diminished returns of the nostalgia circuit, there's a case to be made for your reputation in hip-hop coming down to whether you've outstayed your welcome or not. But while some of the game's biggest rappers have tried to stand in defiance of the clock and occasionally stumbled as a result, today's story is of a man who has chosen to hold any dreams of reclaiming his spot at a safe distance, and has basically done the unthinkable in many people's eyes. Of course, we're talking about the one, the only, Andre 3000. Ask anyone in hip-hop circles about Andre Benjamin, better known by the name of Outkast.
I would say that I think like some of the most like viral like acts and the most like sensationalized acts, like a lot of those don't last long. But like the ones who are really making music like of substance, like we always gonna feel that. We always gonna tap in on that. And the people that make songs to just like make you feel good and make you groove, like you can keep dropping songs and we gonna still keep tapping in. A lot of these artists, I feel like it's like the outside stuff they be doing, like the things they do outside the studio, it might, mess up their trajectory, or, send them in the direction that's unfavorable in the public eye. You know what I'm saying? So, and once people don't look at you the same and they kind of looking at you like, it's hard to bounce back.
It's Andre 3000, and you're more than likely to hear them discuss his position among the greatest rappers to ever grasp a mic. From Travis Scott to Future and Childish Gambino, his influence and the respect that he commands is more universal than practically anyone still breathing. Armed with unparalleled lyrical wit and a dizzying repertoire of flows, Andre 3000 is the rapper's rapper. So much so that when today's consensus king of bars, Kendrick Lamar, was preparing to unveil Good Kid, Mad City, getting 3 stacks seal of approval was something that he actively sought out.
He's one of the first person I played down for. Means everything, man, just off the fact, I've been a fan since day one. So for him to say that I'm continuing, the legacy and the culture of just, the art, hip-hop and making a body of work that stands out and actually means something at the end of the day. It's a very huge, accomplishment for me, confirmation of success.
Revered as one of the all-time greats, Andre's astonishing work alongside Big Boy across Outkast's 6 studio albums is almost unequaled. But no matter how much the world may thirst for another full-length project from 3K, it's been anything but forthcoming.
My boy Big Boy's still making music. Big Boy's still dropping albums, you know what I'm saying? A lot of folks ain't tapped in on him. A lot of folks kind of like don't even be looking at Big Boy like that. They be like, oh, Andre, he the man, he the guy, you know what I'm saying? And Big Boy just kind of like the sidekick, like, no. These big boy projects been going crazy. They been real decent.
Today, if you head on to the This Is Andre 3000 playlist on Spotify, you'll find nothing but tracks taken from other artists' catalogs. Instead of bringing us a whole new vision of his own, Andre effectively works like a session musician in the jazz world, lending his own unmistakable sound to a lucky few. At this stage, it's no stretch to say that Andre is so universally beloved that a single verse from him can command more analysis than another artist's entire project. But despite the audience's appetite for new music and Big Boy teasing the world with the promise that there's a lot of unreleased music from Outkast, Andre continues to forfeit the global audience that would exist for one solo album from him. Instead, he's more liable to turn up to an open mic night with a flute than he is to book a studio session. And when he does so, it's without any of the airs and graces that you might expect from a superstar of his stature. Coolest thing ever tonight, said Instagram user Lil Summy back in July of 2021. I went to an open mic night event at a park and saw someone with a unique looking double flute. I commented on how cool it looked and chatted with a super nice chill dude for a minute before going to sit in the grass. It wasn't until after I'd say that someone whispered to me, "You know who that is, right?" It was Andre 3000. He stayed and hung out for the entire show and cheered for every person who performed. I was really hoping to get to hear him play, but his humbleness only made me love him even more. What a sweet dude. A singular being within the hip hop space, Andre's quirkiness and inability to heed the world's calls for him to provide what they
Hey, Key and Peele was wild for this little sketch right here, dog. Like, come on, bro. He wasn't. I was just gonna say he wasn't that flamboyant with the outfits, but he
As for has spawned plenty of parody over time. But where others see missed opportunity, Andre sees a dangerous road. Speaking to Rick Rubin on his Broken Record podcast, 3 Stacks elaborated on why he takes this approach.
I haven't been making much music, man. My focus is not there. My confidence is not there. I tinker a lot. Like I'll just go to a piano and I'll set my iPhone down and just record what I'm doing, move my fingers around and whatever happens. But I hadn't been motivated to do a serious project. I'd like to, but it's just not coming.
As for 3 Stacks, the praise that other artists lavish on him doesn't matter when he doesn't feel it internally. And beyond that, it also fulfills his need to push against expectations in the way that himself and Big Boy once did so boldly during their heyday of their iconic group.
I'm trying to figure out where do I sit? I don't even know what I am, and maybe I'm nothing. And maybe, my history is kind of handicapping in a way.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to find out what makes me feel the best right now.
Yes.
And what makes me feel the best is when I just do these random kind of instrumental kind of things. They make me feel the most rebellious. I don't like to go with the flow, really. I don't know why.
Yes.
But I just feel best when I don't. I have to honor that in a way,
I would say, man, like when you got like a catalog and people feel like it's so amazing, to make something new is not the easiest. Cause I mean, before when nobody was listening or when there was no expectations or they wasn't putting you up as one of the GOATs and you could just do whatever you wanted to do. And it was just like no judgment. That's free. That's freely expressing. But when there's like a whole bunch of like, oh, the greatest, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of pressure, and it could create writer's block in some, and it could create the best music in other people. You know what I'm saying? Just like MF Doom and Madlib, Mad Villainy, right? Madlib said they got a whole Mad Villainy 2 that he listens to, but he'll never drop because it's like everybody looks at Mad Villainy like it's one of the greatest albums. And it's like if you dropped Mad Villainy 2 and it's not one of the greatest albums, then people gonna look at it like a flop or something. When really it's just like a continuation. Like it ain't gotta be as great as, it ain't gotta capture the same feelings. It's just like we made these songs this time period, then we made these songs like. But the public eye and the expectations can really like ruin a project and ruin the experience.
The years, Andre's relationship with the art form that brought him worldwide acclaim has warped and evolved in ways that others may not consider. Speaking to GQ in 2018, Andre revealed that music was no longer providing the solace and satisfaction that it once was, leaving him scrambling for something to fill the void. You can't run from it, especially when you stop being at your height and you can't match that energy. So you try to find other ways to match it, and you really can't. And then you have all these ideas and then forget them. So I need to just get out of here. That's the same thing that the Hendrix movie, 2013's Jimmy, All Is By My Side, did for for me. I was in a hole, and then I got the offer. I was like, you know what? I need to be around people. I was in a creative hole, a personal hole, and I was still not dealing with my mom's and father's deaths. And really, I don't know if I still have it. Left feeling as though he'd been stripped of the vitality that had once made every syllable unmissable, Andre's personal life has clearly intervened in a way that has made him doubt himself. But with a man as complex as 3 Stacks, there's no one definitive answer as to why he left any aspirations of making a solo album on the shelf. In a rare on-camera interview, Andre fielded the usual question of why he restrains himself from releasing an album, and this time, his answer was a little different.
Even just the origin of the word hip-hop. First you have to be hip, and the older you get further away from the hipness. I mean, you can know what's going on, but you know, there's always new slang, there's always new rhythms, new patterns, all that kind of stuff. Once you start trying to imitate that thing, I mean, people see it, man, you know, and it becomes embarrassing at a point. This is just my personal opinion. Like I, you know, just feel like I, you know, wouldn't have much to offer, you know, to the game after a certain point. You know, it's like being a boxer. I've seen my heroes not be as cool. And it's not that they're not as good as they were when they started. It's just the world progressed. The world actually took them in and learned everything they're doing and spit it back out in a whole new way. So it's like, it's beyond you at this point.
Rather than sitting on his hand.
Right, they done evolved, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like being the old nigga trying to be hip. It's like, bro, you old, bro. Like, you ain't even, you feel me? Some people can pull it off. Like, Kanye stays hip through the years. Like, Kanye moves fashion, Kanye moves music, Kanye moves the culture still in his 40s, you know, versus what other artists, they try to move the culture and get with the culture and get pushed away. Like, go ahead on somewhere. Watch out, buddy. You old.
Fans in the years since Outkast disbanded, Andre has been busy in his own way, pursuing the things that have inspired him. And along the way, he has had failures. Most notably, his Benjamin Bixby clothing line. Launched in 2008, Andre's high-end fashion debut was a passion project that he followed in a way that fans wish he would look more at music in modern times. But as he revealed at ComplexCon, it was a flop. But for Andre, there was still joy to be taken from the process of its creation. I knew the next time I got into fashion or design after Outkast's clothing line, it'd be something I really loved, 3000 said according to W Magazine. The reason I took that route was because hip-hop had this image of, we don't wear these type of things, and I knew we wore different clothes. So Benjamin Bixby was my personal way of trying to say, this is how we do it. The clothes I was trying to make were all my sketches and designs. I was like, let me take this. Let me not get an investor. So all of it was me, my own money. Unfortunately, I lost millions, to be honest. It was an expensive lesson, but I could tell you, it was the best times, the best lessons in my life about myself and creating things. Where others would weep.
Hey, not to bring up Kanye again, but that just reminded me when he was talking to Sway. He was like, Sway, bro, you ain't got the answers, bro. Sway was like, man, why don't you do this, man? Why can't you just do it like that? And why can't you do it like this? And Kanye was trying to tell him like, hey, bro, you telling me what you think and you theorizing what I should and could maybe do. And he's saying, I've been doing it and I've been spending the money and it ain't been working. So I need this. That can infuriate somebody, bro. When somebody is trying to give you advice on something that they've never done. And it's like, you were giving me advice on something that you don't do. And I have been doing it. And putting time in and putting money in and doing research, doing education. I've been doing all this work. And then you're going to sit here in my face and tell me what you think I should do and what might could happen. I've been doing it. You ain't got the
answer. For the funds that were lost, Andre still holds fond memories of the process of doing what he wanted. Just as he does with his canceled cartoon, Class of 3000. Created in 2006 as the dust began to settle on Outkast, this Cartoon Network show was something that 3 Stacks devoted real time and effort into as he told the tale of music teacher Sonny Bridges and his class. Yet while it might have been canceled in short order and resulted in a lengthy plagiarism lawsuit, to Andre, it still represented a resounding success to him. That's the coolest thing about the show, he told The Undefeated. I've had a blessed career. I've had the Isley Brothers career. They came up from the 50s and survived through the 90s. Kids know them from different eras. Some kids know early Outkast. Some kids know Hey Ya singing. And some kids know Class of 3000. So when I hear a kid who knows nothing about rapping, knows nothing about the Source Awards, but who knows me from the show, it just shows you that you don't have to stop. You don't have to rest on what you've done in the past. It's beautiful. Through both of these tales of public misadventure but personal triumph, we see one of the most important aspects of Andre's makeup as an artist and as a person, which goes a long way to explaining why he's chosen to turn down a legendary post-Outkast rap career. Simply put, he isn't fixated on acclaim, and instead puts his stock into the importance of the work in whatever form it arrives. By doing so, he can't and won't make concessions to the commercialism or streamlined rollouts in the way that other rappers do. So when Kanye decided that Donda would be a clean album, Andre wouldn't compromise his vision just to appear on one of the biggest albums of the year. Likewise, where fans would have been crying out to hear from 3 Stacks at a time of strife, and others were compiling the soundtrack of the Black Lives Matter movement in real time, Andre
I think Andre said he didn't know it was supposed to be clean. Like, he didn't know till after he had already sent it. I feel like he said that like on a IG post somewhere or something. Like, he didn't know it was supposed to be like no cussing and all that. So he went with just like his vision, you feel me? I don't think he went against the grain. You know what I mean?
For a different medium, and distilled his anger into a new line of t-shirts and donated 100% of the proceeds to the cause. Derived from the jumpsuits that he wore during Outkast's short-lived reunion in 2014, Andre has spoken of how these items of clothing were a response to feeling like a sellout. I wanted to find something to keep myself excited each night, because I didn't have new verses and new songs, and it felt weird to play old songs from 1993, he told Blackbird's Spy Plane. So I said, let me put these thoughts on my suits. Some were serious, some were silly, just random thoughts like me admitting to loving fruit snacks. Never one to sit back and survey his legacy. What separates Andre from other artists in hip-hop is that he doesn't hide his idiosyncrasies, but steers into them. And by leading with his heart and inspiration, rather than his head, he's cheerfully traded in the chance at a legendary discography as a solo artist. And while absence has occasionally left him open to disrespect, you can bet that when 3 Stacks looks over his body of work across all mediums, he could proudly say that he never sacrifices integrity.
Yeah, man. So as you can see, like I said at the beginning, like the sabotage his career is like, it's a title to get you to click the video, but really it's just about his trajectory. You feel me? I mean, I kind of can understand him, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can you match what you've already done? And why would you want to match what you've already done? You know, some artists just create music until they die. Like Gil Scott-Heron was like, that man 80 years old when he dropped albums. Like, how old was that man? Was old when he dropped that Me and the Devil. I forgot, he was old. Even like MF Doom, like he was still dropping music. I think he was supposed to drop like an EP with somebody, but it didn't get finished. But he did drop like a Czarface MF Doom album. But yeah, man, I know people would love a whole Andre 3000 album, but I mean, we gotta appreciate what he's giving us. He's giving us these verses, so just tap in on the verses and be happy that we get those. Cause I remember like, even though he's so beloved now, I remember back in the day, folks used to be like, man, what is this jump? What is this? What Outkast doing? What Andre doing? Why he sound like this? Why he dressing like that? What's up with these weird songs and this weird music? Like, they was looking at like, what's going on? Right? I remember that. And I was like, oh, beloved, the greatest, one of the GOATs. Like, it's just so funny how perspectives change as time passes. You know what I'm saying? They love you, then they hate you, then they love you, and they hate you. It's just like, it's weird. Being in the public eye, being any kind of creative, man, you just gotta ride the different waves. Just ride them and just continue doing what makes you happy and continue feeding your creativity and your happiness. But anyway, man, yeah, man, let me know how you feel about this in the comments below. Are you an Andre 3000 fan? Or do you listen to Outkast? Have you heard the earliest ATLians, Aquemini, Southern Playalistic? You know what I'm saying? Are you tapped in? Did you watch Class of 3000? Let me know how you feel about it in the comments, man. You know what I'm talking about. We're getting closer and closer to my goal of 2,000. We're getting real close. We at like 16 something. So if you're watching, you know, if you're watching, yeah, I'm not at 2,000. You could be sub. You could be sub to the guy. Clothes still for sale in the description below. You know what I'm saying? Good hoodies, good shirts, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Clothes for sale in the description below. Social media's in the description below. You feel me? Appreciate all the love, man. And I'll see y'all in the next one.